Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Japan and we're going to return to a brewery who I've reviewed a couple of beers from before, but it's been about 2.5 years once again since I've reviewed anything from these guys. And the main reason is just that I haven't seen anything from them in that amount of time. I've not come across their beers when I've been in Japan the last few times. So for this one then we are going to return to Iwate Prefecture, which is in the northern part of Honshu, the largest and longest of the four main Japanese home islands. This is the Tohoku region, very famous for its sake of course, and this brewery finds its root in sake brewing, and we're going to go to a little place called Ichinoseki in the southern part of the prefecture, and that of course is home to Iwate Kura beer. This particular beer is called the Bravo Masaji R-IPA, and it comes in at 6% ABV. So this one, as the name suggests, is a red IPA, and this is part of Mino Beer's Masaji beer project. And basically what happens here is that every year breweries around Japan will brew a tribute beer to Masaji Oshita, who was the original guy that started up Mino beer here in Osaka. And you know, he was a very well liked person, you know, widely regarded as the godfather of Japanese craft beer, one of the ones who was always willing to help other breweries and things like that. I've reviewed another beer in that mini-series actually, the Masaji the Great WIBA, which was from Shiga Kogen beer, and that was really nice as well. So it's quite cool actually that somebody was held in such high regard in Japan that a lot of breweries brew a beer to remember him by every year, and they're all different. So if you try one of these Masaji beer project beers from all the different breweries, you will you know, get something really interesting. There's a good few breweries do this. Iwate, you know, obviously Iwate Kura, Shiga Kogen, Isakadoya, I think, Swan Lake, and there's a few others that I've read about do it as well, but the names don't quite come to mind at the moment. I think North Island beer up in Hokkaido was another one as well. But as I say, a red IPA, this one, using Bravo hops, hence the name Bravo. But really looking forward to trying this one. It's a style of beer that I really enjoy, and it's definitely cool to return to these guys after quite a long time actually. So hopefully you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. We'll need to see how we get on. But as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Iwate Kura before. Hopefully I can add some more in the fairly near future. I definitely don't want to leave it another 2.5 years before I review another of their beers. There's all the usual social media down there too. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Japanese beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Iwate Kura beer then, on to my brewery notes. So this company started brewing beer back in 1995, just after the tax laws changed in Japan. As I've told you before, it was you could only have a beer brewery if you could brew over 2 million litres of beer per year, which is a pretty insurmountable obstacle for many little craft breweries that are just starting up. But like a good number of the craft breweries over here, Iwate Kura beer found their roots in the sake brewing industry, and this brewery's parent company is Sekinoichi Shuzo, which is now owned by Koki Sato, who is the third generation of his family to own the brewery. But most of the day-to-day operations are done by his son Wataru, and the brewery apparently is a little bit of a kind of cooperative company. There's 5 different companies backing this different enterprise, and as I've told you before, in Japan, the business, the way that business is structured over here is very different actually. It tends to be the case that everyone owns a little bit of everybody else. It's very difficult to keep track of who exactly owns these different beer companies and things like that. But the current brewer at Iwate Kura beer is Niwa Satoshi. He joined the company in 2009, taking over the main brewing duties from Wataru, and he had previously worked at Hakuseki Can, and he was trained by an English brewer and also has a very big interest in Belgian beers, notably sour beers as well. But since joining the company, he's added many new beers to the range, and these guys have gone on to be really quite prolific under him actually. But the brewery also have an on-site restaurant which is in this beautiful kind of campus type building, which is called a Kura, hence the name Iwate Kura beer, you know, the Iwate sort of campus beer, the Iwate production house, I guess you could say as well actually. If you go on the website in the description below, you'll see some lovely pictures of this thing, but like I said, this is a place I would love to go and visit. There's a lot of places in Japan I would like to go and visit, and it would be cool to film a little out and about video for you up at the restaurant there. But as I mentioned to you earlier, Iwate Kura are based in Ichinoseki, which is in the southern part of Iwate Prefecture, and this was one of the areas that was affected by the earthquake in Japan back in 2011, and a lot of the brewery's equipment was damaged during the earthquake, and for a long period of time the town had very little food and no electricity and things. But apparently during this time the brewery and restaurant workers would meet on the campus and just cook together on an open grill, and over the following months they worked hard, they got their equipment sorted out, and they were able to get the business back up and running again, and they've done very, very well as a company since then actually. But these days they're a very highly decorated brewery, and as of January 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced around 170 different types of beer, which is pretty impressive actually. I mean, the Japanese breweries gradually have been getting a little bit more prolific with how many beers they're doing, but you know, 170 for one of the breweries like that, that's I guess one of the slightly older craft breweries in Japan now, is pretty impressive actually. So yeah, that's all the information that I was really able to find for you on Iwate Kura. There doesn't seem to be anything new mentioned on the brewery website or anything like that for over the last few years. It just tells you about the earthquake and things, and there doesn't seem to be much more mentioned since then. But as I say, check out the brewery website in the description below if you want to learn more about the company. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out Rate Beer and Untappd to see all the information on the different beers that they've produced. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this one then. So pardon me, as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 6% red IPA. Apparently there's been a few incarnations of this. I saw that it was first brewed in 2012, I think it was brewed again in 2013, 2015, maybe 2017, and it was brewed again in 2019 for release in early 2020 as well. So yeah, like I said, part of the Masaji beer project to pay tribute to Papa Oshita, Masaji Oshita, widely regarded as the godfather of Japanese craft beer. So yeah, pretty cool I have to say. So without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm really curious to see how this one turns out. I'll let you have a little look at the label on this one here just quickly before we open up. There you can see Papa Oshita. This label, it's actually quite similar to the one from on the WIBA from the Masaji the Great from Shiga Kogen beer, which you'll see every so often too. There's a little bit that tells you about Papa Oshita and things. Mino beer in the corner there if you want to pause it if you're a Japanese speaker, and there you can see the Iwate Kura bottle cap on this one. And this one, it's actually designed to kind of look like the building and its roof and stuff like that, the Kura in which this this brewery and their restaurant and things is based. So pretty nice I have to say. Like I say, check out the brewery website in the description below and you'll see exactly what I mean by a Kura. It's a beautiful old Japanese building, this one. So without further ado, we'll get it out and we will get on with the tasting. I'll definitely be keeping this bottle cap. I don't think I have one from Iwate Kura, but let's get this out and see how we get on. So yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured a lovely kind of coppery, mahogany type colour. If I hold this one up to the light, yeah, really dark sort of mahogany, coppery type colour to this one. I think maybe even, it's not even ruby or anything like that, it's like a very dark blood orange, coppery mahogany. I think I'll stick with that. So yeah, as you can see, my glass is clean. There's a good bit of carbonation sticking towards the side of the glass, a few big bubbles there, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head as well. The head incidentally is about 1 finger and it's a very light kind of beigey type fawn colour there, quite a light beige on this one. There's 1 or 2 teeny little bits of sediment floating around in there, but overall it kind of looks, you know, it appears kind of what you would expect from a red IPA. Sometimes people say American Ambers are kind of the same style as this as well. So yeah, let's just see how we get on with the aroma in this one. Nothing overly surprising about the appearance of this beer. So let's have a look at that aroma and see how we get on. That smells pretty nice actually. First impressions of this beer, are that it's pretty malty. You've definitely got a nice kind of brown bready base to this one. It does have a little touch of a kind of rye spice to it, so maybe this is like a red rye IPA. And if these beers are done properly, they can turn out really, really very nice actually. So high hopes for this one, because I know this is a good quality brewery. I've had a white ale from these guys before. I think it was the Oyster Stout, and then another one that was a special beer. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it might have been a rice beer that I had from them, or something with a local fruit. But yeah, all three of the beers I've had from this brewery have been nice, so I do have high hopes for this one. So yeah, as I say, nice kind of brown bready base, a little bit of a kind of rye quality to it, some sweet caramel, a little bit of a biscuity note too. Yeah, definitely. It's got a little bit of a kind of woody undertone to it, and the more that I smell of it, the more kind of grainy it becomes actually. So I think this one might be a red rye IPA rather than anything else. But the way that malt base goes together is quite nice. It almost smells a little bit English, this beer, in its you know, in its characteristics, and that would make sense if their brewer was trained by an Englishman. It might have a little bit of that kind of English radio quality, but you don't find too many of that style around, even in England these days. So yeah, malty side of this one is kind of interesting, a little bit woody, a little touch nutty maybe as well. But on the hoppy side of things, there's a good little bit of there's a light kind of earthy character to this one. It's quite a light and slightly sweet earthiness. Some floral aromaticity in there, a little bit of a herbal quality as well. Some lighter grassy notes in there. The floral notes in this are quite bright, which is nice. I've heard that about the Bravo hop, that it's known for being quite spicy and floral. And that sort of mixes in with a bit of the graininess that you get in the malt base of this beer. But in terms of fruitiness, I would say there's a wee touch of red fruit in this one. There's a little bit of an orangey quality to it, but to me that's kind of minimal. This one comes across as being a little bit more, slightly more red fruity. It's almost like a kind of figgy note that comes out of this one, which is quite interesting. Quite often in red IPAs and rye IPAs and stuff, Amarillo can be a very nice hop to give you some orangey flavours. But I don't think that's in here in this one. The Bravo really gives it more of a kind of like figgy kind of candied strawberry note almost, which is quite nice, I have to say. So yeah, just pay attention to the aroma of this one actually. It's quite interesting, I have to say. A little bit of an English character to it, but definitely some of the more fruity notes you might expect of a more American style beer. But like I say, take a bit of time and enjoy that aroma. We're going to have a taste of this one now and see how we get on. This one is the Bravo Masaji Red IPA from Iwate Kura Beer in Ichinoseki in the southern part of the prefecture in the north of Honshu, the main island here in Japan. Let's get stuck into this one. Cool to return to Iwate Kura after some time. Te Papa Oshita, Slanja, Skål, Kanpai. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. Definitely a more kind of malty leaning red IPA. I mean, you do expect the red IPA to be a little bit more malty than regular ones, or to come across as having a bit more prominence of the malt, but this one is definitely more a malty beer than it is a hoppy beer, let's just say that. This is really nice actually. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. I think this would be really nice on tap, to be honest with you. I think it's got a good smoothness to it in the bottle conditioned version, so I can't imagine what it would be like on tap. I mean, it's likely to be a hell of a lot smoother than this, but that really suits it, I have to say. So yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this one down then. So straight away with this one you can feel a nice little bit of pale malt in the middle of your palate. On top of that, it starts to get a little bit thicker. There's a wee bit of a brown bready kind of thing going on there. In the very centre of your tongue, there's a little bit of a sweet caramel, some more biscuity notes just moving out as you move out from the centre of your tongue there. If you go to the front corners of the palate and move in a little bit, you'll get a wee touch of a kind of woody undertone to this beer as well. And I think all of these things in the malt base just go together really quite well. And the further you go into the aftertaste, it does get just a little bit more kind of spicy almost, which is nice. So yeah, lovely. Sweet. The caramel comes out of this a little bit more as the beer kind of opens up too, and it does get gradually sweeter, but the sort of, I'm pretty sure there's a bit of rye in this. I don't think there's too much, to be honest, because it's quite a smooth rye that's in this. It's not overly grainy, but you do get a little bit of that graininess just pushing its way out the further that you go into the aftertaste. So yeah. That's good. I like it. But yeah, it's this malt base. It really does grow on you as you as you drink more and more of this one. I'm quite enthusiastic about this style. It's nice to have one after quite a wee while. I can't even remember what the last red IPA I had before this was. But yeah, give me some red IPA and some rye IPA suggestions in the comments section below. That would be great, especially if there's more Japanese ones out there. But yeah, this malt base really does get smoother and sweeter the further that you go into it. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, there's a little touch of earthiness there, but as you come further forward on the side of the tongue, it really very quickly becomes more floral and a little bit spicy on the kind of front corners of the tongue. Round the very front curve of the palate, it's just that little bit lighter and more grassy, and then behind the front curve of the tongue, it's got that little oily bubble where those juicy fruity ester kind of pushes its way out of the beer. For me, it's a little bit orangey. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of cascade in here as well, just going by the way that some of these fruity characters come out, because at the back of that note you get a little bit of a kind of grapefruity quality. At the back of that oily part where the fruits come out of your tongue, it's a little bit grapefruity. As you come further forward, it gradually transitions to be more kind of orangey, and there is a little touch of a kind of figgy note on the very front edge of your tongue, I would say. So yeah, it's kind of got everything you would want from a red IPA, to be honest with you. A nice little bit of floral quality, some nice oily fruits as well, and a lovely kind of smoothness and also sweetness to the malt base too. It's a really well done beer. This gets a thumbs up from me. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. And I mean, when it comes to Iwate Kura, I would say their beers are pretty full flavoured, but they're also nice and drinkable. I've told you this about Japanese beer before. They value the drinkability of the beer. They do value the mouthfeel quite heavily, and think about that a lot when it comes to their brewing. But they're always packed pretty full of flavour, I have to say, or most of them are. So yeah, definitely check out this brewery if you get the chance. If you want a nice full flavour but light and sessionable ale, Iwate Kura won't let you down there. So yeah, definitely a good beer to remember Papa Oshita with. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this beer is fairly mid-bodied. Carbonation is fairly smooth. It does have a little bit of a crispness to it, but mainly more of an oily mouthfeel overall, I would say. I would stick with that. Quite an oily feeling beer, but at the same time a degree of crispness towards the back of the palate. In terms of the hoppy bitterness, I think we're talking maybe about, what would it be? I think about 40 IBUs, maybe 50 at a push, this one. The malt base, like I say, has a little bit of graininess to it. Then the further you go into the aftertaste, you can feel the graininess coming out, but a bit of sweetness in the centre of your palate, and some nice big oily, juicy, fruity qualities there at the front of the tongue too. So overall, it has everything you could want from a red IPA, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you. This was a really nice example of the style, actually. Very kind of sessionable, I would say. I wish this was a beer style that was a little bit more accessible, but if you do come across this one and you like the style, I think you will quite enjoy this one. The English characters that I was picking up in the aroma before, they come out a little bit. You do get a wee bit of that kind of graininess from the rye, but otherwise it's definitely more of an American style beer, this one. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one is the Bravo Masaji Red IPA, coming in at 6% ABV from Iwate Kura Beer in Ichinoseki, in the southern part of Iwate Prefecture in the Tohoku region in the north of Japan. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Iwate Kura Beer as well. Let me know some other red IPAs and rye IPAs that I might find around Japan or elsewhere. Indeed, this is a style I do enjoy, quite enjoy reviewing. It's one of my favourite beer styles, I should say. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Make sure you check out my social media, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Bravo Masaji Red IPA coming in at 6% ABV from Iwate Kura Prefecture, or Iwate Kura beer at Sekinoichi Shuzo in Ichinoseki, Iwate, Japan. Until the next time, Slanza, Skull, Kampai, cheers. Make sure you check out this brewery and the Masaji Beer Project. Cheers.